Hi, my name is Mark Hart, and I'm director and co-founder of MJ Solution Consulting. And today we're here to talk about the power of Alteryx. So today's demo is all about unlocking efficiency and automation using the power of Alteryx to create a tax sensitized master trial balance. So what is the challenge we're trying to solve? Well, for many organizations, they have multiple different chart of account structures, normally in different types of ERP or underlying accounting systems, varying locations, different charts of account, different descriptions with different levels of granularity. And in my experience, that creates four main challenges or opportunities if you look at it the other way around. First of all, you've got a data fragmentation issue. So as I mentioned, you've got different data formats, you've got inconsistent coding structures, you've got varying descriptions. And dealing with that is very time consuming and highly error prone. There are some people out there that know their accounting structures off by heart. I'm not one of them. I think most people aren't. So there might be exceptions to the rule, but broadly speaking, dealing with all those different structures does add a lot of time to try and get your head around, switch your brain between one or the other. So data fragmentation is a real issue. Lack of automation is another one. So when you want to automate your chart of accounts, your trial balance into a software, for example, whether that be an accounting software like a statutory account software or a tax compliance software, you want to map that in. But if you've got different trial balances, there's multiple mappings. Now that's possible in some solutions, it's not in others, but one way or another, it adds a huge headache in terms of maintaining that mapping. A far more neat solution would be to create yourself a master trial balance outside of the solution so you can have one set of chart of accounts and map that single chart in and continue to maintain that master chart of accounts. There's a tax sensitization issue. So all tax people know that your chart of account has a lot of noise in it, really important finance codes, but they don't drive any tax decisions. And therefore being able to collapse those accounts either into one or multiple lines, still have it so that the master trial balance balances, but really collapse those lines so that you remove the noise. In addition, it gives you the opportunity to add additional information. So where you know you're going to have to do further analysis, rather than just import that one single line item and then subsequently go off and do analysis, you can add that to the system so that you have that full set with the right level of granularity for tax. Finally, as part of this, there's the opportunity to automate the analysis of certain tax codes. What do I mean by that? Well, at a very basic level, using either known code structures or by using known descriptions, you're able to highlight certain codes so that you can focus your analysis on certain areas rather than looking for that needle in a haystack. And we're going to talk about that applying to trial balances today, but that equally applies to legal and professional analysis, consultancy, fixed assets, and alike. And I just want to use a quote here to finish off. Automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify inefficiencies, which is a quote from Bill Gates. So it's really important not just to try and automate what you've got, but try to improve the process first and then automate off the back of that. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, now we've talked about the challenges, let's get on with the demo. For those that haven't seen it before, this is what Alteryx looks like. You've got your canvas in the middle of the page, and that has our workflow on it, which of course has been pre-built for this demo. At the top, you can see the tools, and we can just simply drag and drop them onto the canvas. We've got a built demo today, so let's not worry about that. First of all, let's run the process, and then we can take a step through the individual steps. So you can see running the process takes just 0.9 seconds. So it's incredibly fast to process all that data, which gives you an idea of the scale at which Alteryx can work when you've got really large data sets. So let's take a look at it individually. You can see we've got set out here our 3 trial balance formats. This icon means that we're bringing a file in. So let's click and let's have a look at what the file looks like. And you can see we've got this account code, account name, we've got a description, and then we've got a column format for our data across 4 different entities with their entity ID at the top. Note the descriptions that we're using in each column, because if we then click on, say, the Oracle trial balance, you'll notice it's a very different format. And then if we click on the NetSuite trial balance, which of course these are all fictional trial balances, you'll see another format again. So we've done this on purpose to make sure that we show how we can adjust this. And then we essentially go through all the different tools adjusting the trial balance. In the case of the SAP trial balance, because it's in a column format, we'll convert that to a row format. So we then process it in that way there. And then we want to make sure that we know the source of each one of these. So we're going to add a column that identifies the ERP. If we go towards the bottom of our workflow, you'll see this is where we combine the trial balance files. So if I click there, you'll see all of the trial balance now combined. So that gives us our combination, but of course that's just a list of everything in the same format. What we then want to do is map it all through, and this is where we've created this master trial balance mapping file. And essentially what it's doing is it's saying for each ERP source, this is the ERP code that it uses, and this is what the master account code is, and that's what our master account description will be. And then also, because I'm using this later in a different process, I've also given it the assignment of a statutory account description and a category in terms of current liability, current assets, etc. And then as we take that through using this tool, we can then map that through so that we can then change the account code to represent the master account code. And essentially, I mean, you saw how quick it worked. It's mapped all that through already, all the way through to getting our final, if I click here, master trial balance. You can see that across all those entities there. This icon means that we've exported it to Excel, so we can use it in another part of the process, or there's lots of integrations for Alteryx. So alternatively, we could just carry on in another part of the process, whether that be in Alteryx or using one of its connectors and integrations. Up the top, if I go back down for a second, we have taken this left connection off. The left connection means that something that connected on the left, which is our trial balance file, did not get matched with the master chart of accounts. And the reason is we've purposely left some out of the mapping file. So you can see up the top here, this is a list of all of the trial balance items that didn't find a mapping. This is a great way to identify any new chart of accounts. Anyone who's been in tax as I have, you'll know that new chart of account codes pop up and sometimes you haven't been warned. So this is a great way of checking. All you'd need to do is go add it into the mapping file, run the process again, and wait for that to be empty. Lastly, we talked about how we could create that tax sensitized list. So we've got a list of specific codes here that we've just added in that we know that we want to identify. Equally, we've created some keywords here. If you wanted something that picked up a kind of more random words for want of a better description, there's things like fuzzy matches we can use, but we're keeping it simple today. We're just looking for keywords. And you'll see by using this identification, we can get to the point where we've got a combined list of our master trial balance, and then with keywords in the right, let's find one. I think I just went past one, finds, for example, which will give us that list. If we then just filter on the codes, we can produce ourselves a keyword list and a specific code list of all the items that we want to break down. Again, we've just used this as an example, but you know, the idea of this demonstration really is to show you the power of Alteryx, the simplicity of Alteryx. It's also worth bearing in mind that, you know, Alteryx, I think one of the things we often get asked is, can you help us prove out the ROI? This is just one use case, but the great thing about Alteryx is there's so many use cases that can be applied across a business using that 1, 2, or whatever number of licenses you decide to use. So you can drive good ROI initially, but actually you can really max out that ROI as you develop new use cases. That development of new use cases is something we see time and time again.
Okay, so we've seen the demo. What have we achieved? Well, first of all, we've created that master trial balance and a tax sensitized one at that. That has allowed us to reduce that data fragmentation by having one chart of accounts with one set of descriptions from which we can then base our further analysis and any downstream work on that. That's allowed us to improve our automation by taking that single point of truth. We can now automate that into our stat reporting process, our tax compliance process, our tax provisioning, or in fact any other part of our process. And we've introduced tax sensitization into the mix. We've reduced the noise while increasing the analysis of codes that we care about, whether that be our legal and professional codes or any other codes. And then we've added into the mix the ability to auto-analyze some of those codes. And we could have certainly gone further, but we've analyzed codes based on the code, so known codes, and we've then used words in order to identify particular codes that are of interest to us. And when we use that mix of tax sensitization, we can start to really automate a lot of areas, particularly areas where the narrative changes a lot. So for example, if you were to bring in legal and professional fees, we all know that the descriptions of those vary wildly year on year. So what's that allowed us to do? Well, first of all, we've maximized our review time while minimizing our preparation time. And we talk about that a lot at MJ Solution Consulting, making sure that we spend our time on higher value work. We've also improved our accuracy, which is incredibly important in an environment that values accuracy, such as the finance and the tax world. All that's left is for me to say thank you. Thanks for listening. And if you want to hear more, or you want to talk to us about anything else around data and process automation, contact details are on the screen. Have a good one.